Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Welcome to all the viewers from wherever you are all over the world. Alhamdulillah, we have Sheikh Baba on this side and have Sheikh Hatim on my right hand side here. Alhamdulillah, the topic today is on Barbie versus Ken. Now, Sheikh Hatim smiling there. He must know more than I do about Barbie and Ken. Now, on a clear note, I wanted to be very clear that none of us here watched the movie. But we looked at some of the comments about the movie. We have seen so many people commented on the movie, and there are clips that have been played over the internet. And I think it's important for us to discuss this so that we are aware of the things, the issues around us, and what are being taught to our children, for example. So essentially, for those who did not see the movie, please don't go and watch the movie. But the movie is all about men versus women, woman fighting men, Barbie versus Ken. So, and subhanallah, when you look at the comments and the issues that come up from this movie, I think it's worth for us to look into it and then to be aware of it so that we know how to avoid ourselves from getting into these things. So essentially, you know, I will start the program today discussing about patriarchy, right? So patriarchy is defined as a system of society of government in which the father or eldest male is head of the family and descent is reckoned through the male line. So that's the definition of it. So I'll pose this question to both Sheikh Hatim and Sheikh Baba. We'll start with Sheikh Hatim first. Sheikh Hatim, is Islam patriarchal?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. This is a very interesting question because Islam is based on the ruling of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, since the beginning of creation, He has assigned a role to both the genders. There are certain roles for males and there are certain roles for females. And each party cannot fulfill their role unless both parties work together. So the roles of men cannot be fulfilled unless women support men, and the roles of women cannot be fulfilled unless men support women. So, Islam looks at men and women as partners in this world. They are both custodians, they are required, they have duties and responsibilities, they are required to build this world together in a coexisting and an understanding relationship. So, we do have um, the system of qiwama in Islam, and unfortunately, it is translated in a very wrong way uh, in the entire world, and also sometimes in the Muslim world. Qiyama does not mean that men are better than women. Qiyama does not mean that men are the boss and women are the subordinate. Qiyama means taking the responsibility of your family. So when a man has the role of qiwama, it means he is the provider, he is the protector, he is the nurturer, he is the comforter, and so on. But it doesn't mean that the women don't have also a very important role, because the biological nature of men and women are absolutely different. Yeah, in terms of physical structure, mental structure, and emotional structure. Therefore, they both need to work together to be able to establish qiwama. Now, I give an example. When it comes to the household, it is my solo responsibility as a man, if I want to fulfill the qiwama, to provide, a shelter, food, clothing for my family, to protect in for against any danger, whether it is physical danger or even mental danger. Because sometimes, um, if your kids, for example, they deviated from the straight path, or they are watching something that will deviate them from their faith, it is my role as a protector to safeguard my family. And then on the other side as well, the mother is the nurturer of the home. So for me as a man, I don't interfere with the role of my wife in the house, where she is the one who is taking care of the house. She is making sure the house is comfortable for us. She is the one who's giving emotional support for me and for the children. That is the responsibility, and it's a very important responsibility. At the same time, there is no harm. Islam has not restricted the man, if he needs the support of the woman, to seek the support of the woman, and the woman, if she needs the support of the man, to seek the support of the man. So the man entrusts the woman to protect the house if he is away. The man entrusts the woman to provide for the house if he is not capable of. So there is nothing wrong with that. There is no clash. But but the thing is, now people think that it's like two different level. It's like hierarchy. But there is no such a thing as hierarchy. Men and women in Islam are both responsible toward Allah. They are both accountable, and they will both be granted what they deserve in the day of judgment. Wallahu a'lam.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وبعد. Brothers and sisters, wherever you are, we greet you with the greeting of Islam. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You all are well, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us in the right path, the path that will lead to paradise. Ameen. This is a very interesting topic. I'd just like to reiterate what Dr. Firdaus Hafizahullah Amin said at the beginning. None of us have watched this movie. We just wanted to highlight this matter from the lens of Islam, through the lens of Islam, which is according to the Quran and according to the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As Sheikh Hatim Hafizahullah Amin stated, the Qiwama in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has divided it and given special role a man can play, and did the same as for the woman, for a role a for a role women can play in Islam. In Islam, if according to the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that four things are sign of success. Al-mar'a salihah. One of them is al-mar'a salihah. I'll just stick to this. A good, pious woman. The role of woman in Islam is defined as a success, and we all want success. And the success we aim for is not just for this life, but for the life of the hereafter as well. That is why it says, الأم مدرسة إن أعددتها أعددت أمة راقية الأعراق أو طيبة الأعراق. A woman is like a school. If you prepare her well, you are raising the status of a nation, of a nations. This is the role of the woman in Islam. Now, the qiwama Men are the providers, protectors, respected, carers. This is one side of it. The other side of it is the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, all of you are shepherd, and you all will be questioned about the shepherd that, about your flock that was given to you to look after and to care for. If I'm a farmer, I've taken my cows or my goats to the farm. If one of them jumps the fence, I will not say I gave up. I will run and bring it back into the hold of the remaining ones. If this is for the animals, how about for the human being? So the patriarchy in Islam is really defined properly. And for us Muslims, we need to heed to that. We need to look into that. All the right of a man, Allah has provided that. Islam has provided that. All the right of the children, all the right of the women, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have provided that. It is left upon us now, after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam have come and explained all this, for us to try and get all our problems solved through the lens of the Quran and through the lens of the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is the only way we can succeed. This is the only way we can be happy. This is the only way we can be rich. The ghina nafs. It is not the richness of wealth. Because remember what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. If a person was to have a valley of gold, he or she will wish to have another second valley of gold. But the happiness, the inner satisfaction under the umbrella of Islam and the umbrella of the authentic Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the only way for us. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is our best role model. And our mothers, the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are the role model for our mothers, for our daughters, for our aunties, for our sisters. Wallah subhanahu wa ta'ala alam.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh
Jazakallah khair,
Ababa.
Sheikh.
Well said, Sheikh Ababa. I wanted to play a short video for us to listen to and reflect upon what we talk about and the answers that you both have given. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Okay.
There was an interview a while back with a child predator named Jack Reynolds. And he was asked specifically how he targeted kids. And even more specifically, he was asked what characteristics he looked for in a child. He surprised the journalist because he said more than the characteristics of the child, he looked at the family. And if there was a strong father who posed a threat, he stayed away. So for those of us who are fathers, this tells us at least three things. One is you'd better be a threat. And there's multiple reasons for that fact. You'll even some people say, well, it's not necessary. After all, we have the police, we have the military, that's their job, isn't it? And the answer is yes, it is their job, and it doesn't matter. Because I will tell you right now that if you're ever in a position where your child needs you and you're not able to protect them, not because you lack the opportunity, but because you lack the capability or the capacity, it's not gonna matter who else should have done the job. Because after all, it was yours. You're the father. So what does capacity mean? There was an interview a while.
Can you hear all the video just now?
Yes.
Yes. So it's an interesting video. Like, he was saying about how the predator, child predator, when they wanted to go and find a victim, find the kids that they're gonna go and do something, right, or take advantage of, they will find kids who are not connected or who don't have a father or strong father to look after them. What does it mean?
Sheikh Baba, can I go before you?
Yes,
Go.
you don't need my permission, Sheikh. Give it.
I I really loved this video. I think it's the most interesting video I've ever watched because it tells you exactly what the role of the father or the head of the family is. In Islam, we are supposed to protect our families even if our life is in threat. Uh, a father or a man who dies in the cause of protecting his family is a martyr. This is the highest level of status a believer can get in paradise by dying as a martyr. And I believe every Muslim man who is a practicing man will risk his life for the sake of his children. It's not your job to wait for the police, for the army, for this. It's your job. As the man said, it's your job. And what will it do to me? What benefit will I get if I wait for others to do my job? That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me the physical ability, the mental ability, the reaction, the aggressiveness to protect my family. I
I
don't want
think check.
anyone else to come. Yes, Doctor.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Share.
I don't
I
want
think there was
anyone
a
else.
bit connection issue just now. Sheikh
Uh,
Baba, can you hear Sheikh Hatim or is it me?
Yes, I can hear him loud and clear.
so I
Okay, go
think.
ahead. Go ahead.
So I think if everyone plays their role, then for sure we'll have a very safe environment. And the predator who spoke in the interview, he says, you know, I stay away from the family where the father is protective or is a threat. That's a good sign. That tells you how to protect your family. But if you're lenient, you're not doing your role, you're not the alpha male, you know, the threat to those predators, then everybody's gonna, you know, attack your flock. Is that what we want? So we urge people out there, whether they are men or women, to play their role. Otherwise, their families will be in danger, and they will also be in danger. Wallahu a'lam.
MashaAllah, Barakallah fi Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. You see, I would like to just add few sentences to what Sheikh Hatim Hafizullah said. Is that, as I was saying at the beginning, men are the providers and the protectors. Physically, Allah forbid, if there's a fire in my house, I will make sure that all my family members are out. I'll make sure that I'm the last to leave. I wouldn't say I will wait for the firefighters to come while I'm out for them to come and take them out. No. If I don't give myself to the wolf, how will I give my children and my families and my wife to the wolf? No, we cannot. That is why it is very important to understand when the word patriarchy is mentioned, it is mentioned through the man-made laws. And when we go through that, we'll end up failing. However, through the laws of Allah and His Messenger, the laws of our beautiful deen, there is nothing that can defeat a good parent, be it man or woman, be it man or woman. We see the female animals, they protect their babies. The cows, the sheep, the goat, chickens, they protect their young babies. How about the mankind, the human being? if the don't let the animal be better than you. Don't say, ah well, you know, don't leave them with their mothers. Be there for them. Show them the tender and the love and care and the protection Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. If you do not provide that for them, they will try to get that tender and love and care at many times from the wrong person who will pretend to be lover, carer, and person who looks after them. We know recently there are many court cases where we have seen religious group are convicted for molesting children, abusing them sexually. And they do this under the umbrella of their faith. So let all wake up and understand that the right, our rights, we need to fulfill all others' right and then ask for our own. Sorry, we need to fulfill all our responsibility first. We fulfill our responsibilities as male, the leaders of the house, and then these heads sits on the neck here. This is the woman. It controls where the head turns, right or left. If we don't control it, if we don't protect it, we'll wake up after it is too late. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alam.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh Baba. I'm sorry if my internet is a bit slow. I think I have issues a little bit. I just wanted to read something about the father absence crisis in America. So literally about 18.4 million children, 1 in 4, without a biological step or adoptive father at home in America. And research shows that when a child is raised in a father absent home, they are affected in the following ways: 4 times risk of poverty, more likely to have the children more likely to have behavioral problems, more likely to go to prisons, more likely to commit crime, 7 times more likely to become pregnant as a teen. So this is for um, girls.
Girls.
More likely to face abuse and neglect, more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol, and 2 times more likely to suffer obesity, and 2 times more likely to drop out of school. So I don't
Subhanallah.
understand when the movie, such as the Barbie movie that we are discussing about today, can promote, to be anti-man, anti-father. In fact, actually, if was one of you have watched the one of the clip from One Path, a video that I sent earlier, I think the movie started with a picture of girls playing regular normal dolls, and then they throw away that doll, they break it apart, and then replace it with a doll like a courier dolls, and completely different. And and the thing is, like, the movie itself, I found it very interesting when from what one of the interviewers saying. In that movie, there's a Barbie who win the Barbie who are smart Barbie, the Barbie who are independent, the Barbie who is CEO, I don't know, whatever. The Barbie who's a doctor, but the male side is Ken. Everybody is Ken, and they're all just the same. They're all just dumb. They're all stupid. They all just want to boss around the woman. So if you were to watch that type of movie, if the kids were to come across that type of movie, what would they learn from that? And this is the fact that we're talking about, that those who are raised in a household who don't have a father, or the father absent, the children don't grow up well, they don't do well. So, and then, and for those who are somewhat think that, oh, this is just a movie, just a joke. Actually, the director herself, I think her name is Greta, I believe, and she mentioned that, no, this is a feminist movie, this is what it's all about. She admitted it, this is a feminist movie. She
If
didn't
you
hide
have
it.
that clip, it would be good to show it, what exactly they say about the movie themselves. We are not the ones who are saying this. They are
Mm,
the ones who are saying this. I just wanted to highlight. us in the Muslim world, we don't have a problem with the roles, because there is a huge difference between man made laws and divine laws. Because divine laws are from the Creator, there is no room for mistakes. And we will never disagree because they are natural to our natural inclination, fitra. But when you have man made role, in your life, then everyone is going to have an opinion. Everyone is going to disagree with the other, and the clash is going to have. I don't assume that such interviews like the ones uh, they are now, happening about the Barbie movie would happen in the Muslim world, because this is not a problem. This is not an issue. Men respect women and women respect men, and everyone has their role and everyone understands their role, and life goes on. But to them, this has become an issue because there is a problem in the system that they're following. There is no system in place. There is Everybody plugs in what they think is right, and that will create chaos. And the biggest problem that led them, or the biggest reason that led them to where they are today, is when they neglected God. Because previously, like 100 years ago, when they were practicing their faith, whatever faith they have, they didn't have these issues. A dad was a dad, and a mom was a mom, and a family was the most important thing. But when they decided to neglect God, then suddenly all of these issues came to surface. We're not saying that this world is a perfect world. We're not saying that all men are good men. All men are just men. We're not saying all women are good women. We're not saying all women are doing their role. But we are saying there is a system in place. If you follow it, the way the creator wanted you to follow, then you're going to resolve all your issues. But if you decide you're smarter than the creator and you know a better way, then you are going to fall into the trap that these people are in today. They are, contradicting themselves. The director of the movie is saying something, the critique of the movie is saying something totally different. They disagree with. Both of them are intellectual, they're educated, and this. Even the interview that Piers had, yeah, he had a few people on the set, I think four people. Even his guests, all of them had different opinions. Some of them, both of them were feminist, but also they disagreed, despite the reality that both of them are feminist. One agreed with the movie, one disagreed with the movie. So I think people need to go back to their roots and values, and
Mm,
they will get rid of all of this, inshallah.
inshallah. This one probably more for Sheikh Baba. There's one question here. Does being a feminist take you out of Islam because you are saying the laws of Allah are wrong? Um, I think that you probably best answer this question, Sheikh.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Now,
I just don't want to get Sheikh Hatim into trouble too much, so I'll let you answer that
very well.
question. Yeah.
Any believing person who says the rules or the laws of Allah are wrong, you don't have to be a feminist to say that and to get out of the umbrella of Islam. Because by saying that, it's challenging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and saying he's not perfect. And that is not correct. That cannot be right. Anyone who believes that knowingly, willingly, believing that, uttering that, they are out of the umbrella of Islam. Because Allah's laws are perfect. When He created us, He knows us more than us. Whatever He ordered us to do is for our own good. Anything He tells us to avoid, to not to do, it is something bad for us. He has mercy for us. He is so merciful for us, more than the mercy our own mothers have. Allah is merciful for us more than the mercies our own mothers have toward us. So he is the creator. He cannot be questioned as to why and what. لا يسأل عما يفعل وهم يسألون. The problem is when we decide we know what is good for us than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'll just give this as an example. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made smoking cigarette, drinking alcohol, kava, when he made all that haram, clearly in the Quran, government says, okay, we want to stop smoking, but we'll ease vaping. And now, those who were not smoking, they ended up starting vaping. Now they're ending up getting worse than those who smokes. So here comes the man-made laws. And now people are crying, something have to be done for this. Something have to be done about this. Have they stick to the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Don't put yourself into anything that will destroy you. We would have not vaped. We would have not smoked. That is sticking to the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no success. There will be no health, no wealth without submitting to the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator and the sustainer. Wallahu alam.
There's one thing I wanted to say, right? Do you think the society are now lying to women by saying that they can be independent and they don't need men to look after them?
No, I will let Sheikh Hatim go first.
Because this is what they are saying. You hear this, like what the movie is all about. Basically, you don't need men. You don't need men. You can be just fine being by yourself, right? And there are now happening as well that Sheikh Hatim, you probably wouldn't come across this in Oman, but in the West, there are people who wanted to be pregnant, either it chose to raise the kids by themselves and going through what they call it the IVF procedure and whatnot without actually having a father by the side. They said, we can do this on our own now.
Very interesting
That's,
question.
that's a big smile, Sheikh Hatim.
I will go first.
You
Hayakallah.
know, if women think that they can do everything, they don't need men. Good, very good. But let them prove it to us. Okay, so if the plumbing in the toilet does not work, fix it yourself. If the heavy grocery bags, you can carry them yourself, then go ahead and do it. If someone comes into the house, an invader at night, go and open the door and fight the invader and protect the family, then no problem, go ahead and do it. If the labor works who are working in the towers and the sunny heat of the Middle East, 50 degrees, who are working outside to build the roads and the constructions and the bridge and everything else, if you can do that, then no problem. We will step back. I'm the first man to step back. I would love to sit at home, put my legs on the sofa with my popcorn and watch TV. I would love to do that. And let the women do all of everything, the fiber optic lines for the telecom, the towers, the roads, the construction, the sewage system, the grocery bags, the cleaning, the mopping, everything, go ahead and do it. We don't have a problem. And I think you brothers also don't have a problem sitting at home relaxing, waiting for a beautiful woman to spend and give you, an allowance every month. I am more than happy to do that. Instead of me working 13, 16 hours a day for my family, I would love to have free time just to watch TV. So if women think that, we shouldn't work together as a team, and they can take over, halas, let them go. No problem. And
So we
you know what happened in the war in Ukraine? They said women and children, evacuate, and the men have to stay to protect the country. No, no, I would love to leave. My bag is packed. I would love to leave. The first one, women, you stay and protect the country. I don't have a problem with that. Honestly, I don't have a problem. Go ahead and do it. That's my response to them.
well, maybe Sheikh Baba, you have a different angle.
Yeah, no, no, no. It is not a different angle. What I'm saying is that men cannot be alone without a woman. No woman can be alone without men. Why? Because this is the sunnatullah fil hayat. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's decree in life. خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل. We created you and made you men and women and made you tribes. This is the way to live. Those who are saying they want to be free of women or free of men, they don't want to be controlled by men, they don't want to be controlled by women. Those who are saying that, if they reflect and look how they came to this world, was through their mothers and their fathers. Have these two decided not to
Mm,
coexist?
mm,
Would they be able to say this?
mm,
Absolutely, they will not. That is why this deen is so beautiful. It is so easy to understand, it is so easy to follow if we need to, and if we want to, and we must. Otherwise, la salaha wala falaha wala sa'adata. There will be no inner peace. There will be no rich. There will be no health. There will be no wealth without it. Wallahu alam.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh Baba. That's one comment here that says, going against our fitra will only make us unhappy. And that's the fact. That's a fact. So many people scared of death, so many people scared of anything, become anxious, become depressed. Why? Because they don't listen to their fitra. They don't understand the concept of true happiness. You can only be happy if you know how to please your creator. So Alhamdulillah, I got one clip here that I wanted to show, and I will.
Before
And
the clip, Dr. Firdaus, I have a
yes,
question for you.
okay. No, no, no. I asked the question. This is my podcast.
Just one question for you. Have you ever heard in your
Yes.
entire life any man
Yeah.
demanding that men should be the only, species? We don't need women. Have you ever heard of that? I
I must.
personally never came
Right.
across, you know, a man calling for eliminating women from the equation.
Mm,
They always men need women, and
mm,
men think that women are very important part in their life.
yeah.
A man wants to share his success with someone,
Yep.
and it has to be a woman. But now on the other side, we hear women, we're not generalizing here, we're not saying all women, this is what they think, but a segment of women are calling that we should eliminate men and we should take over. And this is an odd thing.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, instead of working together, yes, there are
yep.
issues, there are problems, let us resolve them. But no, the only easiest way is cancel, get rid of them
Okay.
or make them look evil.
That's an easy question. Sure, I can answer that one. I thought you're gonna trap me in a difficult question, so that's why I was trying to avoid from answering it.
Don't worry,
No, no,
don't worry, I won't trap you.
yeah. That's 100% correct, Sheikh. We never asked for that, right? And and I think it's not natural. And the truth is, despite what the media are trying to portray, like as you have chosen your word carefully, Sheikh, which you say segment of women, not all of them.
Yes.
And there are many women who are still happy that you open the door. look, subhanallah, Shahid, I was listening to radio. This is a few months ago now, and the guy was saying that he's always quite a gentleman person, isn't it? He's over 50 years old. He said he was attending an office. He was opening the door, and he saw a lady was about to come, and he thought he hold the door. And the lady said, "No, leave me. I can open the door myself." And he said, "Okay." And then he left back. And I said, and I was thinking to my mind, I said, "Wow, sometimes when we open the door, I hold the door for a woman, and sometimes a woman, they or a kids, they will open the door first, and then they will hold it for me. And I never say, no, look, I'll open the door myself. But this is what the indoctrination, right? This is the thing that they're taught. As one brother here made a comment here. Don't get me wrong, I would love a wife. It's just that some woman these days burn hot water. How you dead? That's my only gripe. I don't know what that means. But this is the issue, right? This is the issue. And one other comment here about many people are getting divorced because of this type of feminism ideology. One short clip, Sheikh Hatim, Sheikh Baba, unless you wanted to say something else, Sheikh Baba. Yeah, just one short clip. Okay.
Here's what I find the most confusing about modern feminism. If a woman, fully empowered with every legal right that she currently has within the United States, which is more legal rights than anywhere else in the world, chooses to be a wife and a mother, chooses to be someone that manages the home, maybe educates the kid, how are they treated by feminists? They're not treated like, oh, wow, you know what? I'm so glad that you found a place that makes you happy, that gives you fulfillment and purpose, and that you're doing an excellent job of it. That's never the standard. No, the standard is, why aren't you doing something that a man would have done 30 years ago? Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you doing a man's role? How is it that a woman is only fully living up to her potential if she's doing something that feminists perceive as having been male dominated previously? That's the only thing they give any grace to. And I don't get that. I take that back. I do get that, because I do believe that modern feminism is very hostile toward the traditional concept of marriage or the nuclear family. This is what I find the most confusing about modern feminism.
So that was the clip. Essentially said, now in the West, if a woman stood up, actually, in fact, there are a few of them on the YouTube and social media, and they talk about, look, I prefer to be a mother. I prefer to be a mother and a wife. I prefer to stay at home. I prefer to cook, clean, and go out with my family on the weekends and do what I need to do. That's what I prefer. For the feminist ideology, this is bad. This is unacceptable. And as a woman, it is wrong to do this. So, and the thing is, why do women have to be like a man? This is my point. And then, like Shahatim, you mentioned that quite clearly about the whole thing about working in the deserts and all that. There was, at the moment, everybody said, have to be in a company, to be 50-50 in the parliament, 50-50 in the governance, in the business, whatnot. But I don't see people calling 50-50 for those people, those men who are working in the heat of the desert in Oman, in Dubai, and all that, who are building. We don't see any woman works there. And no one is calling for that to be 50-50.
I will just say something small. The maternity leave in Oman was 60 days, yeah, for
Yeah.
women who deliver babies. And then women said that it's not enough. The government recently announced that the maternity leave is 98 days. So we didn't see women objecting, saying, oh, why are you giving us more time?
Hmm.
Women who know their role, who are working, also women who have careers and this, they have a balance. I have my family, I have a career, there is no problem. And when they're given this privilege, they are thankful, they're grateful that, at least men are thinking about us, the difficulty that we have after labor, the time we want to spend with our children. Now they get 98 days, and then after they finish the 98 days, when they come back to work, they have 1 hour for breastfeeding, so they leave early, and none of them complain. We don't see anything on the newspaper is why you're treating us, differently. Why do we have an advantage? They say, Alhamdulillah, thank you very much, government. We appreciate. This is the natural reaction of a woman when she is appreciated, when she is given space, when she is given something that is natural to her, she appreciates. But if you open the door for a woman and she gets upset, I can open it myself. This is this is strange. I just
Yeah.
don't understand. I am happy so many times guys open the door for me. Do I get offended if guys open the door for me? It's natural. It used to be that someone who is a gentleman, someone who has etiquette, is the one who holds the door for the person coming after him, whether it's a man, a child, or a woman. It doesn't make a difference. Why is it a big issue if I hold the door for you? It doesn't mean that you're not capable. It just means that I respect you and you're a an important person to me. Wallahu alam.
Sheikh Baba.
You know, the whenever we try to find easy ways to ease our life of a distance from the deen, the more we make our lives hard and difficult,
Mm.
be it for men and or women. Sometimes, going for Salatul Fajr or coming from Fajr prayers, I see some mothers dropping off babies at kindergarten. I'm not saying it is not right, but ponder this. This baby needs you now more than ever in her life than this time. And this is the time a mother is bringing the baby to drop to the kindergarten to be left there. She goes, she works for 8 hours. Allah knows this baby grows up with the one looking after her every day. Where will come the mercy? Where is the balance of life? And then when the mom is old, the mom is sent to a place where elderly people are looked after. And this baby now is at mom's age now, but now this baby is busy with his or her own life, working to put the bread and butter on the table for himself and for herself. It is, we are living at a very dangerous time. Why? Because we are getting off a distance from our Creator. I'm not saying women shouldn't work at all. I'm not saying that. So long they are doing it halal, they are doing it within the rules of Islam. I'm not saying they shouldn't. What I'm saying is that we all have got a role to play, men and women coexisting together, living together, working together to achieve one common goal. And that one common goal is for the only purpose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have created mankind and the jinn. That is to worship him. A man leaving his house, going to work, that is a worship for him, that is ibadah. A woman going to work, a woman staying home, looking after the children, teaching them, preparing the meal, that is for her is ibadah. That is rewarding. We need to come back quickly to the Quran and to the Sunnah before it is too late. Allah knows best.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh
Jazakallah.
Baba. I actually had a chat with the with regards to you mentioned about dropping the kids at daycare. right? And I've met a few women who said that if they were have a choice, they would rather be at home, share. And the reason why they had to work is because of financial stability and whatnot. And again, we put ourselves in that situation sometimes. That's how that's from my perspective. And but majority of women prefer not to be at work. And there are so many who I've talked to. They were saying to me, if I don't have to go to work, I wouldn't go to work. Um, but the thing is, the voices on the other side are a lot more stronger, and to go against that norm now, to say that, look, I prefer to be at home, like what the clip that we played earlier, it's basically, something to be frowned upon. It's sort of backward. And like Shahate mentioned before, like Shah, you are that question that you posed to me. I've never thought like that. Yeah, that's true. We men never go and ask around for women to be in any other ways. That's correct.
We are
So, but the
happy
more
the way they are.
exactly, exactly. And see, the issue here, brothers and sisters, for those who just come on and listen to our talk tonight, the issue here is not, we have nothing, against, look, whatever, if the woman want to go to work. In fact, and we did a discussion about this before. For example, Shikababa, you always mention this. You said that, we do need our Muslim women to work in the fields such as, being a doctor for for the females, and also
Yes.
being a midwife. We need that as well, because, every
Teachers.
now and then I normally get contacted by someone and say, look, can you help me find a Muslim midwife? And I say, look, there's not many of them. There's only one or two, very few of them. So, we do need and these things, so that they can play a role for our community. Yes, we're not against that. But what we're saying is, the way how the feminism pitted men against women, sort of we having a war that need to we need to solve the problem. I mean, there was never a problem to start with. That's what I don't understand. And that's what I don't understand. And if you were to say something against this, you are backward, you're not accepted, you are, I don't know. And that was the thing for me. Yeah. uh Sheikh Baba, Sheikh Hatim, I don't have anything else to say.
I think one of the comments was talking about this will create hate between men and women.
Yes.
And I think in the world we have enough conflict between nations. We don't need to create another conflict. And for the
Mm.
people who are intellectual and have senses, will know that whatever they're trying these people to push into our throat is a threat to us, is a threat to the existence of mankind. Because instead of us focusing on the problems, the real problems that we have, war, poverty, environment damage, and so many other things, we are focusing on something that is not real. The the competition between men and women, and this will create animosity, because naturally men will react and defend themselves, and women will be more aggressive, and there will be animosity. And without these two parties, humanity will cease existence. If we no longer have a man and a woman to produce more kids, if we no longer have a man and a woman to work together towards building this nation, then the entire humanity system is going to collapse, and we're going to reach the end of time. And I think the people who are pushing this agenda, uh, this is what they want. They're pushing to the end of humanity. They want to destroy every single value that makes a solid community. They deceived nations before us by telling them, you know what, you should only have one child. And I don't want to mention the nations who went after that idea of having only one child. And today, those nations are encouraging immigrants to come in because they don't have a labor force. They are suffering Their population is declining so fast, they are afraid in the coming years they will not have enough people to be in the workforce because of that decision of having one child. They went against the law of Allah. And today, the same nation are willing to pay people, pay families to have more kids. While the Muslims, from the beginning, they stick to Allah's law. Have a family, have children, build society, and prosper. And they don't have a problem of a declining nation. So, all of these are signs from Allah for us to ponder. When you follow the law of Allah, you'll be okay. When you don't follow the law of Allah, you will not be okay. The nations who are propagating, like for example, um, fornication, yeah, don't. There's no need for marriage relationship for you to be with a woman, and then they introduced, a remedy which is the male protection, okay, and they thought that this will stop reproduction, it will stop diseases and so many things. What happened? More teenage girls are pregnant now than ever. More sexual transmitted diseases are there than ever. So, what happened to your solution? What happened to your ways? So, the moral of the story, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one who can take care of you through following His system. Anything else, it won't work. Don't bother yourself. Don't think so hard. Don't squeeze your mind. And you will end up in the position that they are in today. Allahu Alam.
Jazakallah khairan. Sheikh Baba, I will end this with ask you one question, Sheikh.
Yeah,
Sometimes the hadith that we read sometimes with regards to the about the end of times,
yeah.
about the Dajjal, right, and how it's gonna afflict the woman, right? And do you think it's coming you know to fulfill that now? Because throughout the years, throughout the history of times, we never seen such a thing, like Sheikh Hatim have said, because it was never an issue, and the men never see that woman as an enemy, and it always be together.
We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we don't live to see the time of Ad-Dajjal. Ameen.
I mean,
As we know, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam always used to supplicate for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save him from the trials of the Masih Dajjal. Um, if we look 40 years ago, the then generations and today's generations, there are many different gaps between then and now. Then the technology wasn't well advanced as it is today. If this is the case today, one wonder 50 years to come where and how this world will be. That is why it is very important to always stay connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, stay connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and stay connected to the fold of Islam. All the matters, all any problem we faces, the entire human being faces in this world, the resolution for it is in the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the more we come to it, the more we are able to solve the world's problems today. And the more we are distancing ourselves from it, the more problems we face and the more trials we face. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us guided. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. May Allah
Amen.
subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who propagate towards this deen sincerely for his sake to please him and to please none but to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ameen.
Amen.
I mean, Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh Baba and Sheikh Hatim.
Barakallah.
Inshallah, we'll see you all again next week. Oh no, not next week. Maybe in a few weeks' time. I think Sheikh Hatim is away next week. He's visiting New
Yes,
Zealand soon, inshallah. So we're looking forward for Sheikh
inshallah.
Hatim's presence in New Zealand. And we'll see you all again, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum
Wa
assalam
alaikum
wa
salam wa
rahmatullahi.